What's up, friends? Welcome to the collaboration you always knew you needed. It is the Sons of UCF, myself, Adam, and I'm here with two members of the Space Knights. One is Austin Heff. I guess he's like an OG on the Space Knights. I'm sure he's like an original knight. I don't know what you guys call yourself there. The other one is my man Sam here. And Sam, you and I just met before we got on here. You seem like a really cool dude. There's no chance in hell I can pronounce your last name, so I'm going to let you pronounce your name and introduce yourself for everybody, so I don't have the honor of butchering your name.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Sam Delavalle, and I'm just happy to be here. Happy to be here with Adam and Austin. Just the collab that we all were waiting for. So I'm really excited for that.
Well, Austin, can you pronounce his last name, or is it just me?
Del Valle.
So no. Okay.
So we'll give it. We'll give it.
Awesome. All right, well, guys, appreciate you hopping in. Thought it'd be a good time for us to kind of get together and do a collab here and just kind of talk about the state of where things are at UCF. You know, we're a couple weeks out from the season now, so it's talking season. Everyone's got stuff to talk about, so I figured bringing two guys like yourselves who are diehard UCF fans and kind of get some thoughts and opinions on some stuff. And so, guys, I want to start here. We're recording this on July 14th. From what I understand, fall practice will begin on or about July 28th. So we're about 2 weeks away from the start of fall practice, fall camp, which, of course, is the lead up to the season. And so where are the vibes at for you guys right now? Austin, I'll start with you. 2 weeks out of the season, we have the team we have. We know what we know. Where are your vibes at right now on this 2025 Knights team?
Just fight for 500. People have been asking me, you know, who are more casual UCF fans. They're like less tapped in than I guess I am. Just fight to be 500. Last year, there was so much hoopla, a lot of hype going into the season, and we fell flat. So I'm less enthused about a 9-win season than I was a year ago. I think 6 wins would be a huge accomplishment given everything that's transpired in the last 12, 18 months with this program. So yeah, my vibes are just fight for 500. Any conference wins, especially road wins, would be huge for Frost.
Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you just kind of looking forward to it? Like, what's your level of just like general perception as you kind of wait out the start of the season?
So personally, I went to pretty much every home game from 2010 to 2014. I moved home to Miami for a year and went to a tailgate, but actually didn't go to any games in 2015. Moved back to Orlando right in time for the 2016 season, and we had just hired this guy named Scott Frost. And me and my roommate were talking. His name's Joe. Hopefully he watches this, Joe Nichols. What up, Joe? We were like, hey, we liked Oregon's offense. We love college football. We love high-powered scoring. Like, let's buy season tickets. And so this is the gentleman who, you know, compelled me to buy season tickets. So for him to be back and I'm still locked in with these season tickets all these years later, it definitely was an emotional ride getting him back. And now that he's back, yeah, the vibes are definitely strong. But in terms of rooting for my favorite team, the expectations are tempered, but the emotion is there. Like, the passion will be there. And I hope the rest of the stadium feels the same way.
All right, Sam, I don't know if you can top that. Austin just gave us his LinkedIn resume there, but
yeah,
where are your vibes at as we're 2 weeks out from the season?
I think my vibes are where a lot of people are. It's like, listen, just tell me who's going to start in the beginning of the season. Tell me who our starters are at. I will go to every game that I can. My expectations are tempered. Like, if we go bowling, hooray. If we get more than 6 wins, I will be the happiest man, most positive man on Twitter. And I will be very happy for that. But, you know, my expectations are, you know, really low. I'm hoping that Scott Frost can do wonders like he did back in 2016, 2017. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm just excited to just watch some football, just watch some UCF football, you know, watch this new era of football. So I'm just excited to get back in it.
Adam, for context, Sam, who is usually the loudest, most boisterous human being on the planet, is very quiet this offseason. Last offseason, we did a really fun, like, democracy style voting on what the record will be using the audience thumbs up and thumbs down for each game. And we spent that whole hour of Space Nights literally going through each game, talking about each matchup, and then polling the people. We polled the people and got to 9-3. So seeing Sam and I right now, where we ended up at 4-8, and now talking to you, Adam, today, we just are a very jaded, damaged, and very hurt group of folks right now.
I'm with, for both of you, Austin, I'll start with you. Does Scott Frost get a pass this year? If they win 2 games, if they win 10 games, does it matter? Does he get a pass this first year? Because 70 plus new players, as we've heard about, right? As Sam mentioned earlier, we don't even really know who's starting. I think Frost knows, but he's clearly not going to tell us right now, right? So a lot of unknowns. We have a ton of talent, at least from what we understand, but can they gel together and be a team? Does he get a pass this year, Austin? No matter what happens, does Scott Frost get a mulligan?
You know, it's funny. I kind of hate being on this side. I like being in your chair, Adam. I like.
All right, well, bring him on.
Yeah, putting people on the spot like that. I enjoy being in your seat, Adam. This really sucks. To answer your question, no. I think 2 wins is too low. I think that since he's been around the block, he's been here. You got to win. You got to get those first 2 easy ones, the layups, and you got to get 1 throughout the year. You got to show me something. I know that he had to weed out a lot of bad culture. He's kind of hinted at it subtly throughout his time since coming back, that there's just one thing I noticed at the shareholder practice is he's really big on making sure that the team celebrates with each other before they taunt the opponent. And, you know, Gus had this culture of like, just be yourself. But there's a certain level of being yourself, but also being a teammate. And I think that's something that's going to take a bit of feeling that camaraderie between the team. So despite all of that, I think he has to you got to get 1 conference win. If you don't get 1 conference win, or at least that UNC game, then I have a lot of questions that he would need to answer for me.
All right, Sam, I know you're not afraid to take a UCF leadership member and put a red circle around their face. So is there anything that Scott Frost can do where you're going to circle and cross out his name in red?
0-12. That would be it. I would be off the bandwagon there. But no, much like to what Austin said, like I think that, you know, you gotta get those 2 easy games. I mean, Jacksonville State, North Carolina A&T, and get that 1 like game. Maybe, you know, UNC would be huge. That'd be great. But you know, anything below that, like 0-12, 1-11, like that would be like a lot of like questions that I would want to be answered. But yeah, that's my take on that.
We had a chance to be out in Dallas for Big 12 Media Day, and I know you guys were following along everything on social media. And all of a sudden on Tuesday, the world blows up because Scott Frost says like 5 words, and everyone kind of loses their mind. So for those who've been under a rock, responding to a comment, he made a comment about don't take the wrong job. Again, there's a lot I can get into with that. I think that's way out of context, and I'm not even sure it's fair in terms of what he was trying to accomplish. But Sam, is that a big deal? Like, as a fan, do you care at this point about all the little stuff back and forth with Nebraska? Is that a big deal at all?
No, it's not. It's not a big deal to me. It was just like you know, don't take the wrong job. I mean, he's not lying. Like we all know that was just the wrong job. It did not work out. Like, you know, it doesn't take it does not take somebody's like a Captain Obvious to realize that. So I don't think it was a big deal. Like, you know, Nebraska fans are hurt about it. That's okay. But that's the truth. He took the wrong job.
Austin, do you care at all about all this wrong job and whatnot controversy?
I think what people need to understand is that it's refreshing to have honesty from someone in that position. Now, whether people can interpret it the way they want to interpret it, Nebraska fans can look at him and say, hey, I think you're being dishonest. I don't believe you. And that's their opinion. They're allowed to say, okay, he's just saving face after struggling mightily in his alma mater's job. But if you peel back the layers and look at what he had to deal with at Nebraska, went back home, his dad passed. He had his alma mater's job where he graduated, where people were pushing him to come back. He crumbled. I think he showed that he was human. I think all of us are human, and that to him.
Hold on, let me double check that. Yes, we are indeed all human. I can confirm. I did a quick research. We are indeed all human.
Go video review for Sam. Sometimes I feel like he's a bot. No. When Well, when you look at Frost at Nebraska, by the way, Mac will be here in 6 minutes. So if we're still going, hopefully he's here.
6 minutes.
If you look,
exact time frame. I love that. Okay.
Yeah, he's athletes.
Talk, buddy.
Athletes are always on a timer. But if you're looking at Frost's time in Nebraska, he struggled with more than just the football side of it. I think the human side of himself struggled. And for him to say he took the wrong job, I don't know how you can look at that and say, hey, he's off base. Hey, that's the wrong thing to say. Again, we as fans love transparency. We love honesty. But then when it's something you don't want to hear, then you poo-poo it. Like, no, like you have to take everything for what it is. And I don't think he's ever lied. He went and stood in front of the players and told them, I'm leaving UCF. How many coaches do that? They usually find the back door, run out and go grab the first car to pick them up. Like, he stood in front of so for him to say that, I believe him. And I feel for him. It sucks. Like, yes, the money must have been great, but I feel for him. And is it a big deal? I think it is a big deal in the sense that we're getting more honesty from this guy. The more honesty, the better, because as fans, we're obsessed with it. So it's a big deal in the sense like I get to know him more, which is what I want as a fan.
Well, we are now. I think the challenge becomes, first off, I mean, you guys follow Scott Frost as much as anybody, right? This is nothing new. He said this in some form or fashion since he's been back at UCF. Now, did he say those string of words together in one sentence? No. But he said before, basically, like, don't make mistakes when you're climbing the ladder of success, stop and you're happy. Like, this has been kind of woven through his speech, his dialogue since he's been back at UCF. Austin, my bigger concern, to your point, though, is behind the scenes. I think the whole way the quote came out and the whole way it was kind of presented, if you listen to some stuff and people we've talked to and I've talked to, I think it came across that Chris Vanini, the Athletic, was a bit disingenuous with how he presented the quote. And I do wonder if that's going to make Scott even more closed off in terms of how he talks to the media. He walked into rooms with us guys and he was like, I am not talking about Nebraska. No hello, no how's your day going, no hey, how's the coffee here? I'm not talking about Nebraska, right? So I hope with the local media at least and us as fans that he'll be a little bit more open to that. But I do think that was another scar that he did not want. He was very clear that he did not want to talk about Nebraska. Even when he did that, it still ended up burning him. So I'm curious to see how he kind of takes this, how he moves forward. I know he was on vacation after Big 12 Media Day, so I'm sure he's heading back to Orlando at some point in time. So kind of curious how that'll play out. But Sam, from your standpoint, one of the other things that Frost has mentioned is we sit here again, July 14th, we're recording this. He still doesn't know who his quarterback is. Now, he at least isn't telling us who his quarterback is. I'm not saying he doesn't know who his quarterback is, but he still doesn't know. And I asked him, hey, do you have a time frame? He was like, not really. When I know, I know. When someone's ready to take the job, they'll take the job. And a lot of seasons, Sam, going into it, you know who your quarterback is and you kind of understand where you are. I think there could be some concern, like we still don't know who's going to be under center and we're still getting closer and closer and closer. How concerned are you that we're sitting here and we don't know who QB1 is yet?
I went through a QB controversy. I mean, we've gone through QB controversies, the last 2 years, especially last season. I'm not worried at all. Again, I'm just, I'm worried. Like I want our QB to do good, obviously. I want the QB that is chosen to be the man that takes us through the entire season and puts it all out there on the field. But right now it's, again, not really, I'm not concerned too much. Again, if it comes down to a game time decision, I highly doubt it will, but if it comes down to a game time decision of who's going to be QB1, I'm going to be behind them, whoever it is.
One thing about Frost that we learned while he was here the first time is that he is going to play the best player. I know we've been saying that ad nauseum since he came back. Like, oh yes, this is the one thing that we're going to get a big difference from when we had the most recent stint of a head coach, is that there's no politics with Scott Frost. And I've confirmed that with former players like Mac and others that really do know the true Scott Frost wants the best player on the field. So with Sam, I'm in a bit of a similar opinion, but I just think it's interesting, the three options we have. They all have their own little kind of features about them. Ja'Curry, he can run, obviously. That run against Iowa State is one of the best QB runs I've ever seen in a UCF jersey. It's iconic. That game really, you talk to Iowa State fans, I talked to some of them, they said that was one of the best games they've ever seen in that stadium, and it happened to be against a 4-8 team. But Ja'Curry, he can run. But can KZ coach him up? Can he throw? That seems to be the obvious question mark on his game. Cam Fancher, watching him in the practices, he's a cool wild card because I think he could do a little bit of both. He's lefty, so I'm a little biased. I'm left-handed, and I throw left-handed, so I like watching him play.
Fun fact.
But what did he say?
Fun fact. All right.
Yeah, left-handed over here. But I think it seems like Taven is kind of the guy to beat for some reason. It seems like just based off little subtle hints, he's the guy. But not having your quarterback, I'm with Frost. I wish we had one. Everyone wishes we had one, but you got to play the cards you're dealt. And right now we are dealt with 3 QBs that none of them have really proven that they're ready to be the starter. And that's not really exciting. It makes me a bit hesitant again for the expectations, but I know that the best player is going to win the job. So I'm looking forward to that.
I will say this, you both talked about 3 quarterbacks, and I think that's important. So at Big 12 Media Day, rising media star Andrew Cherico asked Scott Frost about a 2-person quarterback battle. And Scott quickly interrupted him and said, no, we've got 3 guys who can play, who I think I'm going with. So I don't think Andrew was doing anything disingenuous, but was kind of leading down to 2. And Frost was quick to make sure that he threw the third name in there, which I presume is Cam Fancher, how he's thinking about it. So he said before he thinks he can win with all 3 quarterbacks. And so we will see if that works out. Guys, I have great news. This whole entire video just got a lot more handsomer. Because Mac Loudermilk has joined us, former UCF punter, has now joined the stream. Mac, thanks for hopping in and making this a much better looking room than it currently was.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. Make me blush over here.
All right, we were just talking before you got on, Sam. Quarterback, we don't know who it is yet. You've been in these locker rooms, man. You've been on these practice fields. Do players know, like if you're in that room right now, do you think you would know? Scott isn't telling you who. Can players kind of sense and vibe like, okay, I think this is the guy that may be leading our team?
Yeah, I mean, because it all comes down to one, there's going to be one guy that has the ultimate like leadership qualities that you want to lead that team. You can kind of sense it through every day at practice. There's going to be that one guy that steps up, breaks it down, gets the guys rallied up and everything. But also they're smart to know, like when they're in team period or routes and there's a certain guy that has a different type of zip and touch to the ball that's hitting the defense a little better, that's putting the ball where it's supposed to be on time. Those guys realize that. They can say it's an open quarterback battle, all it is, but the players are smart to know and can kind of feel who's taking the step and who's the one that's leading them in the right direction to be a better team.
I'm curious, Mac, at Big 12 Media Day, Scott said something to us around, he wants to see who wants to take the job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to take the job. But he also said he thinks it's important for this player, whoever that is, to prove to his teammates that he wins the job. I'm curious, as a player, as somebody who's kind of been in locker rooms, like, is there a situation where coaches and players are kind of talking openly about who should the starter be, who shouldn't that person be, and how much input does a player really have? How much input would you have had as to who the starting quarterback would be?
They don't care about what the punter thinks about who the starting quarterback should be.
They should.
Which I get it. But no, ultimately, no, I can't think of a situation ever where a coach has called a group of players and like, who do you guys want? Normally, how it's been done, how I've seen it's done in the past, and when I've been coaching is they have a tally mark, and so like they're counting every rep at practice, whether it's routes on air, run check, team period, 7-on-7, Oklahoma, stuff like that. Like they're going through and they're hashing out. All right, our number 1 guy had 3 pluses and 7 minuses, but our number 2 guy had 5 pluses and 6 minuses. So they're going off percentages and who had the highest percentage of successful plays done, and that's what kind of leads them toward ultimately picking who's going to be the guy to move forward. Until you get an NIL era where they bring in somebody for X amount of money and tell the guy who was the incumbent starter from last year, hey, kick rocks. But that's a different coaching step. So,
Sam, you mentioned you are a season ticket holder, that you get to as many games as you can, obviously. Look at the home schedule for me this year. What's the one game you have circled that you say to yourself, I'm not missing this no matter what it is? If I don't have an ear, if my car breaks down, whatever, I'm getting to this game. What's the one game for you?
UNC. North Carolina. I'm really excited for that. That one's going to be, I mean, I've talked a lot, even with fans, friends around Twitter. RBJ says that game is going to be fantastic. We're excited for that game. So the tailgate's going to be something amazing as well. So we're looking forward to that. That one I have circled. So hopefully it's a night game as well. That'd be even better.
UNC games are cursed, so let's just hope that one goes off, because the UNC games are cursed around here. So let's not put that into the ether. Austin, I know you're always out there cheering in your season ticket section. What's the game that you will make sure you do not miss this year?
Is all of them a correct answer? No, like
it could be. It could be.
So this may seem a little out of left field, but I have a personal rivalry with this school, West Virginia. They have our number in it feels like they have our number in every sport right now. Basketball, they own us. Football, they own us. Like, can we get a win against a school that I grew up liking? I grew up liking that logo, playing in the old school Big East, ESPN under the lights. Mm-hmm. They have such a passionate fan base, and we share that Eastern time zone with them. So, like, you have to win that game. You have to win that game.
Okay.
Austin has to go.
He has to go.
He said he's a personal rival. Does West Virginia not like him too? Do we know if that's a?
I think it's the fact that, like, all the games we have lost with West Virginia have been absolutely, like, heartbreaking. Yeah. And the fact that, I mean, again, Austin, like, the fact that we didn't give them the space game, I was like, man, we really should have given them the space game curse and made that an easy win.
You hope.
Yeah. Well, Mac, how about from a player standpoint? Do you circle games as a player and games that you can't wait to play in? And what are the reasons why maybe a game is more important than another for you?
For me as a punter, no, not really. But I'm sure for other position guys, yeah. Like, if you're a DB and if like, if I had to imagine, I think it was the year after I graduated, we played Stanford at home, and they had like a projected first-round cornerback,
Paulson Adebo, yeah. And
so I'm pretty sure there's a couple receivers who are looking forward to that game to show them, one, their first-round talent, or two, he's not really a first-round talent. So I'm sure there's guys looking at rosters knowing now who is where. Certain guys kind of have a certain feeling towards a team based off of who they have playing in the back end or in the front seven or something like that, and they want to prove their worth and go against that certain level of talent. For me, I mean, I think for every UCF player, USF was always circled just because we knew we were going to get their best shot no matter what. Towards that 2016, 2017, 2018, Memphis always gave us a really good game. And we always knew that we had to come correct and come ready whenever we played them. So there's teams like that. And then when you do that, though, it's hard because you don't want to you don't want to overlook somebody. You don't want to overlook a Temple, or in my sophomore year, the Furman, where we're thinking, no one's thinking about Furman. And then sure enough, they come in there embarrassing at our house. But you try to treat every team with the respect that they deserve. But yeah, ultimately, there's probably one or two games that a couple of players have circled, saying that they really want to get after this one moving forward.
Austin, let's talk a little NIL. Sorry, go ahead, Sam.
No, I was going to say, I was like, I will add to what Max said. I mean, still, I'm getting used to, like, the Big 12 conference. Like, in the American, like, I would know, Memphis, gotta look. SMU, hey, that's a sneaky one. Yeah. USF, of course. But even still with the Big 12, it's like, I don't know. Like, I know West Virginia, it's going to be one. Kansas, we still got to beat them. So, yeah, I mean, hey, Oklahoma State could get that revenge from 2023.
Austin, let's switch gears to NIL. We were at Big 12 Media Day, and all the coaches were on the podiums talking about NIL's out of control, and there's so much going around, and teams are spending money, and which was awesome, by the way, because Texas Tech was just sitting there like smirking the entire time because everyone knows they're talking about them, right? What do you make, Austin, of what Texas Tech has done? Is it fair or foul, right? They've got billionaires with a B who, like, invented oil or something, right? And they can throw money around needlessly, and they're doing it, right? So that's the system, right? I mean, that's you can do it right now, although maybe it's not the right thing to do. What's your take on what Texas Tech has done? Is it fair or foul, in your opinion?
I think it's fair. I think it was funny seeing what's his name, the comedian who called out Nick Saban in front of him.
Shane Gillis.
Yeah, Shane Gillis. Yeah, Shane Gillis calling out Nick Saban. That's who I think of when I'm thinking of fair or foul. Yeah, I think what the schools were doing with the McDonald's bags, that was foul. I think what Texas Tech is doing with the rules benefiting them, I think it's fair. I think what was foul about Texas Tech is I love Lee Hunter. I used to. But when you
no longer Lovely Hunter.
Well, when you go and declare for the draft and say, just kidding, I'm going to go to another school. Don't go to a team that's on our schedule. Don't just at least go to a Big 12 team that we're not playing this year, but that's the only foul thing. I think that was actually a smart move on their part, because now, talking about the talent of our team. Okay, can you break down this offensive lineman, that offensive lineman? He's going to be able to really coach up that team. But it's fair. I think it's super fair. I think everyone asking for a cap, I think they're also acting in a way that's fair. I don't know if I agree with the cap, though. I think you can kind of let those wells dry up on their own, right? At some point, the water's not going to, the bucket's going to be empty. And then kind of let the market play its way out, almost like a typical market where someone's going to keep overspending and just get fatigued. So I think everything they're doing is 100% fair. And honestly, the more money they spend, the more boisterous their roster, the more attention they get, which means the more attention the conference gets overall, because they're getting all these eyeballs on them. So yeah, I think what they're doing is fair.
Sam, are you mad at Lee Hunter as well?
I mean, if you're given like money, if you're given a check to go to a school, it's like, all right, I'll go. That's it's fair. I mean, that's the state of the game, and college football as is nowadays. It's kind of like you have to accept it. Obviously, wish him the best. Got obviously mad, he's not a Knight anymore, but wish him the best. Wish him the best in Texas Tech, and he'll ball out. So
he called out threats for transferring, but I think he called him out because he quit mid-year. I think that was the big call out for threats. Transferring at the end of the year. My two closest friends that are alums from UCF football are Austin Camden and Mac Loudermilk. But if you get to know both of them, they both have this mindset of, hey, black and gold is everything. If you want to transfer, we're not going to let you. We're going to convince you to stay and do everything in our power to stay. So that's the kind of mindset I've adopted as a UCF fan.
Yeah, my thing with Lee Hunter was, I had a chance to talk to him at media day. Super nice guy, like really friendly. Said he misses UCF and said all the right things, right? Then he got to his sidebar podium and said, UCF didn't show me the love, or UCF didn't show me my worth, right? Which I thought was disingenuous at the end of the day, because the backstory is obviously there was a number Texas Tech floated out there. UCF couldn't match that number, couldn't get close to that number. And I think most folks at UCF were like, hey, Lee, go chase that bag. Like, good for you. You should go do that, right? Because you're not going to get that here. So I thought that was a tad disingenuous. Mac, you're around players all the time, obviously from back in the day and now as a high school coach. How important is NIL? Like, if you had to rank the things that athletes are looking for in schools now, if you put coaching, if you put NIL, you put conference affiliation, like what's the order in terms of what's important to players?
I would say NIL is the number one thing. Because now and especially with how the transfer portal rules are now, like you can go 1 year, get your bag one place, and then you don't like it there, go to another school next year, get another bag, and you just keep hopping for 4 years. I know they changed that rule recently, but now there is no more, let me take my 5 official visits and see what coaching staff I vibe with, what group of players do I vibe with, who do I connect with. Now it's who's going to give me the biggest bag. And now that stuff's trickling down in the high school football, which like in the metro Atlanta area, there's kids who are jumping schools 2 to 3 times a year. Like they just passed the rule this last year saying that I forget, you have like one transfer, and after that you have to show like 6 months of pay stubs and a proof of address. They're trying to crack down on it. But now it's getting to where, and I got to tell my high school athletes this now, like you have to make sure that you have love for the game. You can't just like football to play at the next level. You have to love football, because bag chasing's fun, but at some point you still have to be a college athlete and you still have to produce. These are not 3 to 4 year contracts saying, we'll sign you for 4 years and then we'll see what we can do. No, everything is a year by year basis. So you may go to that one school for a $2 million NIL deal, and if you don't touch the field and they feel like they can replace you pretty easily, you're at the bottom of the depth chart. You're going to get called to the head coach's office and say, it's probably best for you if you transfer. And so then now they're going to look out for the next school that does have the next biggest bag for them, because chances are they've already spent that $2 million they were given. So I think NIL is great. I don't think it's being used how it was originally designed to be used for players to be able to sign jerseys, sign cards, go and host camps. To me, there should not be a single 18, 19-year-old who's getting offered 7 figures right out of high school saying, come play football for us. Because at that point, why even try? You've essentially made it. You're now in the top 0.5% of America. So what more do you have to strive for? Yeah, you can like the game, but you better make sure that you still love the game once you get there and produce, or else that bag's gonna get yanked right out from under you too.
That is well said. Sam, let's switch gears. Let's look ahead to the season. Give me a name on offense and a name on defense that you're excited to watch play. Either maybe a young guy you think is going to break out, or somebody you think is really poised for a big year. Give me somebody on offense you're looking forward to, and somebody on defense.
For offense, Miles Montgomery, definitely looking forward for him. Defense, be honest, not too familiar with a lot of the names on defense. Not really haven't kept up too much on defense, but when it comes to offense, it's Miles Montgomery is someone that I'm like really keeping an eye on for this season.
Austin, how about you? Give me somebody on offense, somebody on defense you're looking forward to.
Jaden Nixon, running back. I think he's really exciting. I think that he's going to be a nice pair, a complementary player to Miles Montgomery. I think he's a little shiftier, a little smaller. I think Miles got that almost like that bigger build. And on defense, I'm pretty biased, but John Walker, I was at his commitment. And I told him, I looked him in the face. I'm like, hey, John, you are the number one rated commit in school history. And he like looked up and like looked around. He's like, damn, like you players like that, like, young athletes like that, they get so caught up in like the work, the grind, the work. And then they get to their commitment. They're like, oh my goodness, like I don't realize how good I am. I think that's what he really gives off. And I'm really looking forward to, okay, he had a year off. Unfortunately, injuries suck. No one likes a good injury. Can he go back to where he was as a true freshman? True freshman, he was dominant in 2023 for someone that age. So I want to see if he could take that next step. And he's been 3 years removed from high school. So almost like I don't want to do too good, because if he wows too many people, he may have to take the next step to the NFL. But John Walker and Jaden Nixon.
Mac, I know you're busy with a full-time job. You're not in Orlando. Any names that you've heard, anything you've heard from either folks that on the ground in Orlando or stuff you've read that has you excited?
To echo Sam, I really want to see what Miles Montgomery does on offense. I want to see how we're going to try to replace RJ Harvey. I want to see if he can be that guy and be that true like feature back. For defense, was it Sweat that transferred from Pitt? What was his last name?
Sincere Edwards?
Sincere Edwards. He's the one. I want to see if he can still carry that same freshman year that he had up there and bring it down here to Orlando and see what he can do on that defense. I just want to see the defense play well this year. I thought that's been like a struggling spot for the past 2 to 3 years. I just want to see him compete and keep us in close ball games and see if we can edge it out and win it.
Yeah, a couple names. I'll go different than what you all said. I think Kylan Fox, tight end. The Frost offense obviously likes the tight end position. I think Kylan Fox is a young, athletic kid who may plays in the open field, so I think he'll be exciting. I asked a couple guys on defense at media day to give me somebody, and they both said, both Nigel Kelly and Kelly Lawson both said Philip Dunham, the safety transfer from FAU. So I haven't seen him play a ton. None of us really have, but he was a name that they both gave me right off the top of their head of somebody who they thought was having a really good camp. Speaking of Kelly Lawson, guys, this guy is 6'4", like 220. He is every bit the specimen you would think he is. I was talking to Miles Montgomery, and I asked him about going against this defense and what it was like in practice. And he said the first time he got to practice, he saw Kelly Lawson, again, 6'4", 220, lined up, and he was like, I thought he was a receiver. It wasn't until we got to 7-on-7 that he was like, this dude's a linebacker. And so if that just shows you kind of the speed and the size that they're building on that side of the ball. But I'm with you, Matt. Can this defense come together? Alex Grinch, defensive coordinator, has had a couple of rough stops in the last couple of stops. Oklahoma and USC haven't gone great for him. So kind of like Frost, I think he's kind of coaching for his name again, right, to sort of prove who he is. So, can he take that chip on the shoulder and make it great? But again, what was Sam, Mac, and Austin? They are the Space Knights. So if you're not familiar with the Space Knights, first time ever hearing about this, don't know what they do, what they are, I'm going to give the floor over to anybody who wants to fill me in. What is a Space Knight? What do we do here? How do people find you? What's going on with all this Space Knight stuff?
We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on your favorite sports news app, X, Twitter, whatever you call it now. We're every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're either talking shop. We'll have guests. We've had a range of guests over the years. We mentioned John Walker. Our first Spotify episode was with Sincere, who Mac mentioned. Mac used to be a frequent guest. Now he's part of the nucleus of what we do, which is really cool.
Promotion. Way to go, Mac. Way to get a promotion, buddy.
Got promoted from guest to host. Yeah. The goal is just to, similar to what Sons of UCF is doing, engaging the community. Spoke to Adam recently about it. I see Sons as your kind of TV anchors. I used to run home and try to turn on the local news and watch Will Manzo of Local 10 in Miami. That's what Sons reminds me of. And I feel like we're like sports talk radio. So we used to have Joe Rose in Miami, Dan Lebitard, used to be radio only. So that's kind of where we kind of live. And the good thing about the X Spaces is that it really is interactive. If you want to speak, it makes it easy for us to let you come speak. If you want to comment, it makes it easy for us to read your comments, and you could help drive what we do. So just like Sons had Terry on, we had Terry on as well. So you never know who you're actually going to get every Wednesday. And the cool thing about Sons is we're doing a home and home. We're doing a road game tonight, us three, the trio, three of many. We're kind of a big crew now. The three of us are here, but
in the crew, how many is there a signal you have to give? Is there a secret handshake?
Password.
How do I know that? Okay, it's a password. Okay.
It's you have to put the right book off the shelf, and then the door opens. Yeah, and then you get into the crew. But we're doing a home and home. We're getting Sons on tomorrow. They went to Big 12 Media Day, so they asked if we could have them on, and we could ask them what is Trace's favorite road meal. What does he
doesn't involve his hands is the answer to that question.
What's the weirdest tick about Trace, and then vice versa? What's the weirdest tick about Adam when they travel together? I'm looking forward to really getting to know these guys. And
we shared a house, and there's some stuff going on there. We shared a house in Dallas with a bunch of people. There's a whole lot going on. Trace had tacos, and he famously does not eat with his hands. He will not use his hands to eat. And I have no idea how he ate the taco. I forgot to look at how he actually consumed the taco because I was too busy eating my own taco. And it's a mystery now I have not solved.
So question, he uses a fork and a knife for pizza?
That is correct, Sam.
We're gonna have to have some talks about that.
He is undaunted in that.
X-Files, Trace eating tacos.
Sam, how did you get roped into the Space Night, Sam? How did you become involved? I know you weren't, I guess, part of the original cast, if we call it that, but you've obviously kind of taken a role there now. How did you get involved? Why did you get involved? I assume you have other stuff to do in your life. Why do you want to tie yourself down every Wednesday night at 8:00 to talk about Knucklehead?
First off, love doing it. When I can do it, I love, coming on, just talking about whatever. I mean, how I started was, I think, in the 2022 season, I was, listening to Sons of UCF, coming into Space Nights, just listening in. I very rarely would talk. And I remember the first time I'm like, all right, let me take the floor. I think it was after the Baylor game in 2023. That was we don't talk about that, but that was the emergency post game night. And I was passionate. It was good talking. It was great talking with Austin, with RBJ, Steven, all those people. And one day, Austin reached out to me. He's like, hey, do you want to come on and be a host? And I was like, at first I was like, oh man, like really nervous about it, but ever since then, it's something I've loved doing every Wednesday, especially after a game. Try my best to make it on every time.
And Mac, I got to give you credit. You're one of the more accessible former players. You're always out there answering questions on social media, which I really appreciate, by the way, because I think there's a lot we can learn from your experience, especially now that this staff is back, right? Who knows what's going on in that building better than you? So again, why is doing something like Space Nights important to you? Why do you want to kind of have your voice out there and make sure you're continuing to talk about UCF?
Well, one, I'm just appreciative of UCF and all the fans, because it's because of the fans that I have the platform I have now. No one should care about a punter who does stupid celebrations, but I was fully embraced by the UCF fans, and so I just, whatever I can do to give back to them, whether it's a little snippet here or there, just kind of give them a player's insight of what somebody may think or what somebody may see on the field, what's really probably happening. If I can have some type of innuendo about it. But no, it's giving back to the fans what they gave me back when I was playing there for 4 years.
It's gonna be tough to top that one. Mac, how I know Austin, Sam, and I probably think we're important and people listen to us and whatnot. Do players actually listen to some of the stuff that's out there? Again, there's any number of shows every week. There's articles, there's websites. Do players actually pick some of that stuff up? Is it something that actually makes its way in the locker room ever?
I don't know, because I hate to say this, back when I was in college, from 2014
old Baylor.
Golly, it's been long. But because really the podcast area and all stuff hadn't really taken off that much. But now I think with how social media has taken off, every fan base probably has 3 or 4 different spaces that happen per night with fans hooting and hollering about what they think should happen with the staff and who should be quarterback and stuff like that. So I'm sure now it's a little more prevalent, especially with all the athletes now coming up through social media, and now they have a much bigger audience and understanding and how they can kind of tailor their social media to get NIL deals and stuff like that. So there probably is a little bit more of an ear to the ground when it comes to Twitter Spaces and shows like this. So I'd imagine there's at least some type of chit chat going on. I mean, I think it was June the 17 year, whenever McAfee, he had to come to Orlando for something, and I sent him a DM, and like 3 days later, he shouted me out on his podcast, and my phone got flooded by text messages and DMs. I was like, I didn't even know this was going to happen. But no, I would think now it's probably a little more bigger of an issue than what it was back when I was there.
Austin, what's the again? How many of these have you done now? 200? Like, do you have any idea on what the number is?
If you count everything prior to us actually publishing them and archiving them permanently, yeah, you're probably at least 100, probably 120, 130. We have over 80 now on the airwaves, in the sense that like you can go on Spotify and pick the ones you want to pick. There was a time where we were just caring about just a live thing. So yeah, we're pretty. We've been doing this for a bit now.
I'll put you on the spot. What's the most memorable of the spaces? One space you get the most. It could be because it was a fun time, or it was just a complete disaster. What's the one that sticks in your mind the most?
There's a bunch. I mean, I think of Taylor Hendricks right before the draft. I think about Terry, but my favorite was the lead-in and just the hype around MH Ver 3. I know Steven's gonna hate. Steven Leonard's gonna absolutely despise this answer. He's like, he's a fake source guy. He just wants the followers. And what I liked about MH version 3 is he's been doing this for a while, before Twitter was even in existence. He was doing the message board source thing. You go on the dungeon, there's like those few users on there that are dropping nuggets. He was doing that in the message boards, and then he brought it publicly to Twitter. He's just, from my experience with him, such a nice guy, really nice guy. And the first time he ever revealed his voice ever was with us. So there was a lot of anticipation, I think, from his followers. Number one, what does he even sound like? And number two, like, what can he give us? What nuggets can he drop? And to his credit, he did predict some of the realignment stuff to 100% accuracy. He was calling it out well before it happened. I think so. That space, there was just so much hype. I remember hitting the start button. There were like 600 people ready to listen. And like you could feel and hear my heart beating out of the chest. I'm like, why am I nervous about this? No offense to all of us, but the little thing that we do every week that we just are trying to enjoy. And now 600 people like live want to like interact and comment. I'm like trying to read everything. So yeah, that was really fun.
That was right before. Yeah, that was like as the Pac-12 was imploding in on itself. So yeah, no, that summer was ridiculous with realignment.
Yeah,
the Pac-12 was back. Sam, it's at Texas State, buddy. Pac-12 was back. Texas State Bobcat.
It is.
We're live. Austin, but hold on a second. So I believe MH version 3 or whatever you say, isn't he a West Virginia guy? Don't you have a personal beef? You just told us earlier you have personal beef with West Virginia, but yet you had a West Virginia guy on your space. Help me make sense of that.
That was before the personal beef really started. We went and played them, and they kept cursing out Darius Johnson. If you should have seen my DMs in the Space Nice Twitter chat that day, I was livid. Don't call Darius Johnson the B word, and expect me to respect your fan. I get it. It was probably students, but yeah, on an individual level, there's always going to be the really nice fans and a sea of bad ones.
All right. So where can people find you on social medias? Give a plug on where to follow, where to find, how to stay engaged.
At the Space Knights on X. I'm doing this daily UCF highlight reel thing I've been doing lately. So follow that account if you want to just go down memory lane daily. I did softball the other day. I did Frost first win today. So we go live on that account every Wednesday. This week we got the Suns on, so we're obviously super pumped for that. And you never know who's going to pop in. Mac was one of those who would just pop in. Now I feel bad for him. Now I'm like, hey, can you do this more often? And he obliged. So at the Space Knights on X.
Sam, where can people follow all of your precious nuggets on social media?
Get ready for the memes. I'm so sorry in advance. Hey, you guys can follow me at Oh Hey Fritz, and also Storm the Field UCF as well. Great places. I just like to post and just I'm never serious. Almost rarely am I ever serious in that account. I just love the engagement. I welcome everybody. A lot of UCF Twitter. Please, you're all welcomed.
And for the 7 people out there who don't follow Mac Loudermilk, Mac, how can they follow you on social media?
All my social media handles are MacMilk15. So it's pretty simple to find me.
Awesome. All right. With Sam, Mac, Austin of the Space Knights, thanks so much for taking some time. Again, check them out Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call that. And you might just hear us on there soon. Until next time, everybody, charge on.
Charge on. Thank you, guys.
Charge on.